In this video, we are diving into managing users and groups in Linux. Managing users and groups in Linux is an essential task for system administrators. We will be discussing about the importance of managing and understanding users and groups. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to IT and Automation. This is part 10 of the Linux tutorial where we will discuss about Linux users and groups. In Linux, users and groups are fundamental to the system's security and organization. Each file and process belongs to a user and a group, allowing the system to control access and permissions. So what are users and groups? A user in Linux is an account that is created for a person or a process that needs to interact with the system. Each user has a unique username and password and is assigned a user ID. The user ID is used to identify the users to the system and determine the user's permissions and privileges. A group in Linux is a collection of users who share common access privileges. Each group has a unique group ID that is used to identify the group to the system and determine the group's permissions and privileges. Groups make it easier to manage access control by associating users with similar access requirements. So let's look into type of users and groups. There are two types of users in Linux: super user and regular users. The super user has complete control over the system and can perform any operation, while regular users are limited to the resources assigned to them. Similarly, there are two types of groups in Linux: primary and secondary groups. The primary group is the group that is assigned to a user when the user account is created. A secondary group is a group that a user can be added to later. Now let's look into managing users in Linux. To create a new user in Linux, we can use the useradd command. This command creates a new user account and assigns a user ID and group ID for the user. The syntax for creating a new user is useradd, and we can use some options here, and the username of the user. Please note that the user can be a person or any applications. Modifying user. To modify a user account in Linux, we can use the usermod command. This command enables administrators to modify user account attributes such as username, primary group, password, user ID, group ID, login cell, home directory, and many more attributes of any user. This command automatically updates the value of these user account attributes in the respective system files. The syntax for modifying a user account is usermod, and we can use some options here again and the username of the user. Let's look into deleting user accounts. To delete a user account, we can use the userdel command. This command removes the user account and home directory of the user. The syntax for deleting a user account is userdel, and you can use some options again here and the username of the user that you want to delete it. Now let's look into how we can use this command in the terminal. First, let's look into how we can add a user using command useradd. Sudo useradd j. Let's verify the user using command cat hc password. As you can see, the user j is added. Now let's switch to the user to j using command sudo su j. Let's check the user using command whoami, and you can see that we have switched to the user j. You can also use man command to check for the options available for any command. You can see so many options that you can use with useradd command here. We'll use this command to add home directory for the user j, and let's see the home directory using command sudo usermod -d for directory and the path of the directory. So we'll be using /home/debian12 as the home directory for the user j. Now let's again switch the user, and now let's verify the home directory using command pwd, which is present working directory. You can see /home/debian12, which is the home directory for the user j. You can use any home directory, but usually in general practice, home directory name will be the same as the username. For this demo purpose, I have used debian12 as home directory for the user j. Now again, let's use command usermod to give sudo access to the user j, and the command is sudo usermod -a capital G sudo j. So basically this command will add j to the sudo group, which will give sudo access to the user j. Now let's check using the groups command. You can see the J has been added to the sudo group. Now we can test if user J has a sudo privilege or not using any command that requires sudo. So let's try using command sudo add update and the password sudo password for the J. As you can see, the list of available packages. Now let's look into deleting a user. We can use command userdel to delete a user. So we will delete a user J using command sudo userdel and the username for the user, which is J. So let's give the sudo password for the Debian 12 user and let's check using cat hc password. As you can see, user J has been deleted and is not present on the list. So we can also verify by switching to the user and it says the user J does not exist or the user entry does not contain all the required fields. So which means user J has been deleted from the system. Now let's look into managing groups in Linux. To create a new group in Linux, we can use the group add command. This command creates a new group and assigns a GID or group ID. The syntax for creating a new group is group add, options and group name. Adding users to a group. We have already checked before how we can use usermod command to add users to a group. So modifying group. To modify a group account in Linux, we can use the group mode command. This command allows us to change the group's name and group ID. The syntax for modifying a group account is group mode, options and the group name. And deleting a group account. To delete a group account in Linux, we can use the groupdel command. This command removes the group from the system. The syntax for deleting a group account is groupdel and the name of the group. Now let's look into how we can use each of this command in the terminal. I have added user J again for this demo. So let's first add group called developers and add user J to this developers group. Let's first add the developers group using command sudo group add and the group name, which is developers in our case. Now as previously shown, we'll use usermod command to add user J to this group using command sudo usermod -a capital G and the group name, which is developer, and the user we want to add to this group, which is J in our case. Now let's verify if J has been added to the developers group or not using command groups J, and as you can see, it has been already added to the developers group. So now let's look into how we can use groupmod command to modify a group. The command to modify a group is sudo groupmod -n and the new group name you want to modify, which we will give as DevOps, and the group you want to modify, which is developers, and hit enter. Now the group has been modified and any user that belongs to developers has now changed to DevOps group. Now let's use groupdel command to delete a group. We will delete a group DevOps using groupdel command. You can always use man to get any help about any command. It displays the user manual of any command that we can run onto the terminal. Thanks for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to check out our other Linux topic in the playlist. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for notification.